CrewtonRamone'sHouseOfMath.com with a short little 5-minute lesson on using addends and doing multiplication past 10. So people are saying that 15-minute videos are too long. That's the attention span of the American consumer. Anyway, all right, so we'll make a nice short little 5-minute snippet here where we talk about making addends, building addends, which is what you see here. We built all the addends, all 45 of them, and we raced, had fun. There was my tray over here, and then we took stuff out of my tray to make the addends past 10. This girl is 17 years old, autistic, very functional autistic child though, and she's one of the few children that can actually beat me when we race building addends. Anyhow, most kids can't do it, and they get quite frustrated. This child just put her nose to the grindstone and got it done. And now, pretty much consistently, she beats me every time we race building addends. And it's fun. We have a good time. It's, it's not a fearsome thing where there's, competition and tears and stuff like that. We're just playing around with blocks, having a good time. Okay, now once we get the addends in there, we can start talking about how, especially with, this is, even though she's 17, she's very childlike, right? But even with regular kids, quote-unquote, normal regular kids, or the younger children, they say something like 75 and 7, and it's like, wow, 75 is a big number. Well, actually, when you see, we can use several ways to teach this, but let's go out here and I'll point at this one. That if I had 6 tens hanging off of here, and then this would be the 7th 10 and 5, well, that's, the math is only going on right here, actually. So if I add 7 to that, so 75 and 7, 82, simple, right? And they realize that, oh, the 10s are just along for the ride, because they think 75, oh, it's a big number. And it's the same thing as 25 and 7, it's the same thing as 35 and 7, it's the same thing as 15 and 7, and it's actually the same thing as 5 and 7. You just have some 10s along, and then it becomes easy, and they get more experience with it. And you practice your addends, and it becomes fun and simple, and it leads to quick multiplication and quick addition, which is actually all multiplication is, right? It's very fast addition. So the average student, I see now that they actually took the multiplication tables down to 10. Like a lot of kids just do the 10 by 10 in matrix and that's it. They don't even know their 11 times and 12 times tables. And certainly not their 13s, and certainly not their 17s times tables. Well, Crewton Ramone's House of Math, we go all the way out to 20. And we show them how to do it fast and easy. Because, again, multiplication is the milestone in mathematics. It allows you to count very, very rapidly. And if you can count rapidly, you can do math rapidly. And then it becomes easy and fun, and you don't get bogged down in computation. And again, the mathematics is not computation. It's critical thinking skills, right? And the computation is there to help you do the problem solving. Completely different way of looking at math. Concept-based teaching. Because math isn't just computation, right? Accounting is computation. Anyway, we won't go there. We'll be quick and fast. Here are just, 6 problems? We actually did more than this. Actually, I think it's just 5 problems. But first one, 17 times 3. There you see it, right? 3 over here, 17 times. Or we could look at it, 17 3 times, whatever. And you can see in algebra, if we flip these blocks over, and make it a combined lesson, that's just x plus 7 3 times. But can you see very simply that this is just 30 and 21? And adding 30 and 21 should be no problem if you know your addends, right? 51, easy. Okay, so then we fool around with different ways of building it. Instead of making this 13, we use 6s. So now we know automatically that this is 6 times 13. And 6 times 13, very easy, 60 and 18, right? And there's a 0 here, so there's not even any carrying to do, and there's never going to be any carrying to do, right? It's just adding together 2 numbers quickly in your head. And there is, and this was pretty fun because it was 15 5 times, and we could really see that it's the same thing as 50 and 25, right? Or half of this again. Anyway, we're just playing around with blocks, having a good time. And then here is 19. Oh my goodness, a big number like 19, 6 times. Well, there's 2 ways to do it. Here's one way, and then the other way, right? So I showed both ways of attacking this problem, where basically you have 120 minus 6, or we could do 60 and 54, and you get the same answer. That only, and we talked about why it works with 9s and so on. And then last but not least, 14 8 times, and it's just 80 and 32. Simple mathematics. Crewton Ramone's houseofmath.com for more. Practice your mathematics, practice your multiplication, especially with the younger kids. It's better to get the multiplication out of the way when they're young children, like 5, 6, 7, 8. This should be done already. But high school kids, I often get high school kids that can't do this, or at least they can't do it rapidly in their heads. Notice we're not using symbols here, but we're using the blocks to facilitate the counting so they can go quickly. And then later on, when they see the symbols, they do it in their heads. Or when they just hear the problem, if I say something like, what's 13 times 6, they're able to go, oh, 60 plus 18 in their head and spit out the answer, which is 78, without using paper and pencil, without having to use blocks, right? But you have to give them the experience. And I've gone over it 6 minutes. I lied. Anyway, Crewton Ramone's houseofmath.com for more.